Hey, it's Chris Gonzalez here, and I'm back once again to go over the single issue comics that I've read and share my thoughts and opinions about them. And for this week of October 29th, 2025, I had 5 books that I got and read either physically or digitally. And again, I'm excluding the Age of Revelation tie-ins that I got this week. Those will be in a completely separate video, so be on the lookout for that. Within the next few days, I'm going to be going over all of the Age of Revelation number 1s that came out in the month of October. And this will be lasting for till the end of the year. So, but now let's get on to this week's books. So the first one I'm going to go over is the final issue in this mini-series. It's Death of the Silver Surfer, number 5. Again, the writer is Greg Pak. Artist is Kumar. The colorist is Dharmata. So yeah, issue 4, Nornrad, aka the original OG Silver Surfer, gave the power cosmic to this soldier named Kelly Ko. Her company has infiltrated the blood of Galactus, and there are creatures that were residing in it, and they're heading towards Earth. So Kelly is, she was against the Silver Surfer initially. Now she's on his side, and her mother is in danger since those creatures are heading towards Earth, and her mother lives on a space station that's orbiting Earth. And Kelly had a change of heart. So, but it looks like it was too late in the last issue. Kelly's mom got severely injured. So yeah, the artwork has been great. The story, to me, throughout the series, it's been okay. It hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been that great or groundbreaking either. So in these pages, Kelly reflects what she would do beforehand when she would gather up and attack these aliens when she didn't know anything about them. So she's just reflecting on that, and she's seeing the memories of one of the aliens she captured, and the alien was just scared and out of their element and was attacked for no reason. So Kelly, she is regretful for what she had done, but she teams up with Norrin to save the day. This is a really cool shot. And what I did like about this series, and back in issue 4, it paid homage to Stan Lee and John Buscema's original Silver Surfer run that ran in the 60s. And I think it was issue 18 of that series. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger where Norrin Raj, he's stuck on Earth. He can't leave Earth's orbit due to Galactus forcing him to stay there. So the humans do not like Nornrad in that series, and they treat him really horribly. So in the final issue, he has it. He's done with all the humans, and he rages out. But that never really gets touched upon or brought up again. So I liked how this series calls back to that original Silver Surfer run. And so Kelly and Norrin are fighting alongside each other, and then the humans come in, and Norrin, he doesn't care. He wants to stop the humans at all. He wants to stop them. So, and then the Avengers eventually show up. But Norrin wants nothing to do with them. He's had enough. And then the bad guy I did not like this character. He's been the major villain. He's just a typical corporate loser. And yeah, so it causes pretty much a rift. This machine shoots out a power that was harvested from the blood of Galactus. Norn tries to protect everybody. And he once again transfers the power cosmic back to Kelly. And it doesn't show him getting killed, but something happens where it makes the writers are trying to, and the creators are trying to make it believe that Norn's dead. So I don't believe he's truly dead. I think he just got transported to another dimension. But again, Kelly, she becomes a Silver Surfer again. And that's pretty much it. She takes everybody, all the aliens that were captured by her former company, and now she is the Silver Surfer, the current Silver Surfer. So we'll see if any of this story gets brought back up. But again, I thought it was cool. One of the weaker issues that I read this week. So yeah, it was okay. I probably won't read that series again. So, and the next issue that I read, one of the digital issues that I read, was Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue number 10, and it's the final issue. This was the sequel series to the legendary Long Halloween and Dark Victory, both by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Jeff Loeb returned, and unfortunately, again, due to Tim Sale passing a couple years ago, he couldn't finish it. So in this series, there is a new artist each issue, and in this issue was Mateos Galera, I believe is his name, is the artist. Dave Stewart coloring, and Richard Starkings on the lettering. Now, throughout this series, it's been up and down. I thought the first two issues, especially the first issue, was incredible, and it's just been going downhill ever since then for me. This story just seemed like all over the place. The release schedule was pretty inconsistent. We would go like sometimes 2 to 3 months in between issues towards the second half of the series, and I would just forget what had happened. And overall, it might read better as a collected edition, but yeah, the story wasn't that great to me. To be honest, I don't even think this was necessary. The best part was the rotating artist, and again, that's once again true here in issue 10 with Mateo Scalera. Definitely gave out his best homage to Tim Sale while, infusing his own style. And there's a few panels that I thought were beautiful. There's a panel towards the end where it straight up is a direct homage to the Long Halloween. It's where in this issue, Batman, it's like a shot that's looking up at Gordon, Batman, and this time Robin. And in the original Long Halloween, it's Gordon, Batman, and Harvey Dent. So I did like that moment in here. But overall, again, the story was pretty weak to me. It involved Gilda Den. She's manipulating and getting with both Mario Falcone and Harvey Dent. I don't know what her motivation was. Apparently she's really mentally ill, and I just did not dig this series. Again, it might read better all at once, but in the end, I was just, I'm just glad it was done, to be honest. So now this second digital issue that I read is quite the opposite. I love this series, and that's Batman and Robin Year One by one of the best writer-artist duos in comics working today, and that's Mark Waid and Chris Samnee. They both did the co-plot with Mark Waid writing, Chris Samnee on art, and he did his inks as well. And I believe the colorist, give me 1 second. Colorist is Matheus Lopez and Clayton Cowles, with Chris Samnee doing some of the lettering as well. So pretty much, again, this is the final issue. It's been going on for a year, and I think this is going to be a new modern classic Batman story. You can put it up there with Year One and Dark Victory, and The Long Halloween. As far as early stories in Batman's career, you're going to be including this one on your list of go-tos and recommendations, because to me, Mark Waid and Chris Samnee don't miss. Their Daredevil run together is my favorite Daredevil run. The series the Black Widow series that they did together was also phenomenal, and you can add this to the list, man. Like, just Chris Samnee, the way he takes a lot of Silver Age influences and just implements a modern twist to it, and his line work, his ink work, the line work, great, and Lopez's coloring was phenomenal. And in this issue, pretty much coming off the last issue, Robin has come back to save Bruce, and they're trying to foil Two-Face and Clayface's plans, because Two-Face wants to pretty much pour this chemical into the Gotham's water supply, which will turn anybody who gets infected by the water, whether it's by drinking it or whatever, they turn into clay monsters and they will eventually disintegrate. So Batman and Robin have to save them, and I liked Robin's quips, and in this issue it definitely gave off the 60s TV show, like that tone. There was some instances where that tone through the dialogue was showcased, and it was just a cool amalgamation of the goofy Batman stuff mixed with the modern, more serious and gritty stuff. So yeah, I love this series. I definitely recommend, for those who missed it, definitely get the trade. I think the trade is coming out in December, so be on the lookout for that. And I just want a deluxe hardcover of this, and hopefully we can get that sometime soon, but I'll definitely be getting the trade. And yeah, I highly recommend this. In the end, in the story, Batman, he fully trusts Robin as his sidekick and partner, and they introduce themselves to the citizens of Gotham as the dynamic duo. So again, definitely check that out. I love the series. So, and the next comic I read, I did read it digitally at first, but I loved it so much that I had to get the physical copy. So I went out and got the physical and this was a surprise to me, because normally I'm not a Superman fan. Like, I like Superman. I've seen most of his movies, but don't hate me, I haven't seen any of the Christopher Reeve movies. I know, but I just haven't seen them, and I don't know if I'll ever. Maybe one day I'll watch the first two, because I heard the third and fourth one sucked. But anyway, I digress. Superman, the Red and Blue 2025 special. It has four short stories. The first one is called Priceless, and that's written by Paul Dini, art by Mirka Indolfo, colors by Arif Prianto, lettered by Ariana Mayer. The second one is All the Time in the World, and that's written, illustrated, and lettered by Michael Walsh. The third story is called Out of the Ordinary, written by Dan Abnett, art by Caitlin Ramirez and letter by Clayton Cowles. And the last one is Red Letter Days by Rainbow Rao, art by Kyan Tormey, and the colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., and it's lettered by Dave Sharp. So, and the cover by Chris Samney. Chris Samney, I just love his art, and that cover was so badass. And what I liked about this, I think there was a anthology series like that was released a few years ago called Superman Red and Blue, and each issue was created by different creators, and I think it was 7 issues. I never read that, but I did pick this up. And the first story written by Paul Dini, Superman, he has to go to another planet. His cousin Kara, aka Supergirl, she owes a lot of money she did something where she owes a lot of money, and she's been detained. So Superman, in order to bail her out, he has to go to this planet where there's a rare crystal that's worth a lot and that would pay for her bail. So he has to go through this force field that's surrounding the planets. It hurts him. And what I loved about this, the color scheme in all the stories is pretty much primarily red, blue, and white. So I really dug it. The artwork in this one is really cool. So he goes to this planet, he sees where the crystals are, but the thing is, the crystals are, like the rare crystals that are worth a lot, they're attached to these like creatures. So he has to carefully use his laser vision to saw the crystals off the creature, but when he does that, he awakens the mama, I don't know. But yeah, he awakens the big ones, and they're whipping his butt initially, and then all of a sudden Supergirl comes in. She found out that Clark was trying to bail her out, so she escapes prison, and Crypto goes along with her, and they subdue the monsters, and they get the crystals. And yeah, and it's revealed that it was actually Crypto who did all the damage, because they are pleading their case with like this council to try to, but the council accepted the jewel, but pretty much Supergirl has to do community service, and her cousin helps her out. So that was the story by Paul Dini. I really liked it, and I think this was one of my favorite ones. This one by Michael Walsh again. He did the artwork, and did the lettering, so he did it all. So pretty much is a slice of life story, a day in the life of Superman, where he has to deal with being a dad, being a husband, working at the Daily Planet, and just saving everybody. Look at this artwork, so gorgeous, and again the colors just really pop out. Just the red, and really enjoyed this issue, and it was pretty touching and emotional. It just shows that even though with all this power and responsibility, Superman's he's like a normal human. He goes through what we go through. He was raised in Kansas. So yeah, it's just, again, the artwork, great. So and what's really touching is he tries to save an older gentleman from a heart attack, but even, Superman can do a lot, but he can't fight against Father Time, and it was this old man's time to go, and it was just really touching. Like, he died, this old man dies, and Superman, he can't do everything. So, and I like this panel where Superman, he's hearing, like, he hears all the citizens like crying out for help, and he's just doing the best he can. And this was a really great story. I really enjoyed it. And this one I also enjoy, the one by Dan Abnett, and I like the artwork. The artwork here is kind of modeled after David Cornswet, so there's some synergy here with the movies. So in this story, giant robots invade this small town in Canada, and a reporter who writes for their paper asks for an interview with Superman. So they have an interview in this diner, and he just talks about his life and how he grew up and how he deals with everything, even though, you know. But I thought what was cool is there's this little girl that's sitting behind the reporter. She is right here, right? You can't see her, but she's right there. And in this like each panel, like you can see her, she's peeking over, she's pouring salt on this girl's head. In this one, she's like hanging upside down. And while they're having like a serious conversation, this one she has her hair in her mouth. I just thought that was funny. But yeah, this was another great one. And he pretty much tells her, like, yeah, even though I have all these powers, I'm just a normal guy. I like to do normal things. And this was a really cool issue. And they're just talking in a diner. They're just having a conversation. I love that shot. He's like, he pretty much says his secret identity is Superman and his identity is Clark Kent. That's the real him. So in the final story, pretty much a focus on Lois. She is staying late one day, and she gets a tip that the Olympics is coming to Metropolis, and Superman, he's out doing his thing, fighting crime, and she's just pretty much at work dealing with her responsibilities. She calls her son Jonathan. And yeah, so they're just trying to get their sources vetted and confirms that the Olympics are happening, and they have to stop the presses so they can insert that last minute story. And yeah, another cool issue. I think it was the weakest out of all of them, but it was fun. The artwork is cool. And they published the article. And the thing that was cool is, you know, since the color scheme is all like red and blue, the final page, when they come together to embrace themselves, it turns purple. That was pretty cool. So another great issue. I really like this. And it's just a one shot, so anybody can pick it up and you won't be lost. So I definitely recommend. And the final book that I read is probably the most popular one, and I guess it's controversial, but I don't think it is. And that's Absolute Batman, the annual. And it's the first. There's 3 stories. First story is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, and I think the colors are Mike Spicer's the colorist, one of the best in the game. So story is Bruce. He's talking with his younger Bruce. He's talking with his dad. That I guess something that happened where there's some extremists that bombed an area, and he's like, what? Bruce is asking why they do that, and Bruce's dad's like, I wish I knew. And he asks Bruce, like, what will you do? He asks Bruce, what will you do in a situation like that? And this image, that is crazy. Man, Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer, whew. crazy. So Bruce drives by this encampment, and he's older, and he goes to a pawn shop, and he tries to get, weapons for, his crusade as Batman. And it's set before all the events that happened during the first arc with Black Mask, so it happens during that time. So he hears some commotion outside, and these goons are harassing and attacking this lady and her child, and the lady and her child, they speak Spanish. So it turns out that they're white supremacists, and their leader, DJ, and the pawn shop owner actually gets involved as well. He turns on Bruce. They're all white supremacists, and DJ, they beat the crap out of Bruce. And then it looks like a reverend stops them. And then DJ and the rest of his goons, they roll out. They have a mission that they're about to attempt, and Bruce wakes up with this pastor, and Bruce asks him, he overheard that they were gonna do something that night, and the pastor's like, they're about to attack that encampment that they passed. And so Bruce heads out, and you know what it is. If you heard about this issue, you know that. And it's very topical for today. So the white supremacists, they go and attack this encampment. And this is the best. I showed this earlier, but come on. Come on. Yes. Yes. Love it. And he just pile drives. And just the action, and it's just brutal, and just look at just the lettering as well, all coming together just to bring an intense, bombastic sequences that only Daniel Warren Johnson could do, and he's such a great artist. But Batman continues to beat the hell out of the leader, and that preacher comes back and stops him. He's like, hey, this isn't the way, violence isn't the answer. But Batman doesn't care. He's like, sometimes words aren't enough. This is his way. And so he goes back to their base. And this is pretty much how we're introduced to him getting that new Batmobile. So this is the first time he gets the Batmobile. It's like one of those construction crane / tanks / trucks. I don't know what you call it, but pretty much that's how he gets it. And he just demolishes their base and sets it on fire. And again, the preacher comes back, and he's like, he tends to the wounded. And he says, the preacher said, Batman asks him why. Preacher says, you have your way and I have mine. So in the end, there's another flashback of Bruce with his dad. And it was a touchy moment, and it's just at the end, Bruce reflects on what he's done. By looking with the blood in his hands, it's crazy. And then, that's the end. So I really enjoyed that story. And so the second one is written and drawn by James Herron. Colorist is Dave Stewart, and Clayton Cowles is once again the letterer. and it's pretty much ties in with the Black Mass saga, or the Black Mass storyline. So a couple of the Black Mass goons, they go to this church, an abandoned church it looks like. Yeah, and one of the members of the party animals, it's his dad's place, I think. So they try to just get weapons, and the dad confronts them. And then the Batman's not far behind, though. And just the artwork by James Herron's very, very cool. And the coloring by Dave Stewart really stood out. So the party animals try to confiscate some weapons from the dad, and Batman shows up and just, beats the hell out of him. Look at this image. Look at how frightening. The way James Herron and Dave Stewart, just the way they use the black and how Batman's in his shadows and you can just see his eyes, really haunting. And then this wasn't as good as the other one, but as Daniel Warren Johnson's, but I still dug it. And then at the end, the father protects his son, and Batman flies away. And then there was another short story. It was just very anime style. It was just talking about facts about bats, and in the background it has Batman and how that relates to the facts about bats. And yeah, it was cool. It's just this cute little story. So yeah, that was Absolute Batman, the annual. Again, another great read. And I think my pick of the week would be the Superman. I'm not even gonna front. I had no expectations, and I love this. But yeah, so those were my thoughts and opinions on those issues that I read. And yeah, let me know if you read those issues. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Just remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I really appreciate those who watch the videos. Again, I'm going to be dropping every Saturday my thoughts and opinions, so be on the lookout. And also be on the lookout for my video on all my thoughts on the Age of Revelation #1s. That will be dropping in a couple days, so be on the lookout. Anyway, my name is Chris Gonzalez, and thanks for watching. Peace out.